we're going to cover it, guys. We're going to cover everything from insurance, midterm rentals today, wealth building, foreign investing, midterm rental arbitrage. And so let's get started. Hello. My name is Dr. Rachel Gainsb, and I am obsessed with all things short-term rentals, revenue streams, and helping you navigate your career, real estate, and your busiest and most wonderful seasons of life. So grab your coffee, get comfortable as you get ready to learn and grow with me. This is the Luxury Short-Term Rental Doctor Podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. My name is Dr. Rachel Gainsb, and I am so excited about today's topic. Today we're talking about how busy doctors can create a lucrative midterm rental. I'm going to be spilling the tea on the 12 exact steps to get started. Today's talk is perfect for doctors, nurses, medical professionals, and also engineers, attorneys, anyone who is looking to secure their financial future with investing in real estate without necessarily having to, so quote unquote, fight for their lives on these W-2 streets or adding a whole lot more to their schedule when they're already super busy. So looking forward to sharing this topic with you today. Actually, I just got back from abroad. I have so much that I want to share with you. I went to Costa Rica, which was beautiful. The people there were just absolutely kind and amazing. Went to Nicaragua, Portugal, Germany, and in those countries, I had the opportunity, guys. I had the opportunity to explore what it looks like to invest in short-term rentals, midterm rentals, and long-term rentals. Okay, so breaking news, surprise, the fundamentals are the same, my friend. The fundamentals are the same, but there are some very unique nuances that you need to understand. So I wanted to go myself to essentially vet the deals, the opportunities, the developers, and all of that jazz. And I have something really special that is coming your way. So stay tuned for that. We're not going to dive deep into that today, but just wanted to highlight the fact that investing abroad, a lot of the fundamentals are the same. Okay. So we're going to cover it, guys. We're going to cover everything from insurance, midterm rentals today, wealth building, foreign investing, midterm rental arbitrage. And so let's get started. I want to make this as simplistic as possible. I want to simplify all of the complexities that you are hearing out in the space. So this is more simple than you can imagine, okay? So simple that I want to start off with just breaking it down, all right? So let's dive in. First and foremost, before we get into the 12 steps, I want to level set. I want to identify some definitions that you need to be aware of, my beautiful friend. So imagine you have a house. You're looking to rent this house out to a tenant or a guest in order to create, some side hustle revenue, a few dollars on the side, okay? So there are a multitude of ways that you can leverage this house to create revenue on the side. Number one, there is a long-term rental strategy. That's you have the house, it's not furnished, you rent it out for a year. A lot of the individuals who are investors in the long-term rental space, they often say if they're making an extra $100 per month per property or $200 per month per property, that is perfect for them. But for me, I'm going to be honest with you. Once I heard that, I had to calculate for myself, well, how many of these properties do I need? How many of these properties set up at this strategy do I need to really make a dent at my day to day so that I can have some options, whether it's going to be to cut back, whether it's going to be to reposition, what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. So if I'm going to make an extra $100 with one property, and then I'm going to need two properties to make an extra $100, a lot of the experts in the space are telling us go and get 10 of those. So 10 of those properties, I'm making an extra $1,000 a month. All of that work for an extra $1,000 a month. So when I brought that, I was like, well, that's a lot of work for an extra $1,000 a month. I'm not going to downplay $1,000. $1,000 is $1,000, but it's a lot of work, and you're dealing oftentimes with difficult tenants. You're dealing with evictions. A lot of the people in the space, they're reporting that one major renovation sets them back a bit. There are advantages, but one major renovation say the water heat bursts, it's, several $1,000s. So that's that entire year's revenue gone, right? Gone up in flames, so to speak. So when I asked, well, what would you do to get to your goal? Say your goal is an extra 5,000 a month, which is what we advocate for inside of our community. An actual extra 5,000 a month of cash flow net. After all the bills are paid, that is net with one property. Like, well, how do you get there? They said, well, you get another dozen, and then a dozen, and then a dozen. And so that's when it clicked for me. What clicked for me is most people are optimizing for things that just shouldn't exist at all. Let's not optimize for things that should not exist. Let's find things that are in alignment and will support your goals, will support your life. That's what you need, is a business that's going to support your goals and support your life. So for me, long-term rental was out. Visit me back in 10 years. Maybe I'm going to change my mind, but change my mind. Long-term rental is out. So then we got into short-term rentals. It was amazing. So for a 2-night stay, our guests were paying anywhere from $250 a night to $300 a night. Mortgage is $1,500. I mean, you do the math. We were hitting our goal of $5,000 plus per month of net revenue, which I love. So what is a short-term rental? A short-term rental is kind of like an Airbnb property. You can find those bookings on Airbnb, on a platform called Verbo, on just a variety of places. So typically these properties are furnished. Unlike long-term rentals, the short-term rentals are furnished. People are traveling to your space for a variety of reasons. It can be a vacation. They're staying there on a weekend vacation, a quick little getaway. They're in town for, say a medical procedure or to visit their family encountering a medical procedure. There's a variety of, in North Carolina, we just had a lot of families visiting for graduations and so on and so forth. So short-term rentals are like typically less than 30-day stays. Okay, so we talked about long-term rentals. Those are your 1-year leased unfurnished properties. Short-term rentals are typically your shorter stays, 2 nights. It has to be furnished because they're only there for a couple nights. They're not going to move in all of their furniture, right? Now, midterm rentals are kind of in between. They're kind of like month-to-month rentals, and there are over 50 different types of individuals that need a midterm rental. We're talking about students who are living in a dorm, right? So they're there 3 months, 4 months or so month to month. We're talking about travel nurses, those who are there on assignment, visiting a hospital, locum tenens, which are which are kind of like substitute doctors. They're coming to help out when a hospital or facility is short staff. University professors, military individuals, relocation individuals, those who are coming to an area to determine, okay, I'm here training. I'm going to need a place to live, but in the interim, I need a place month to month until I figure out where I'm going to plant my roots and make sure that me and my family were good to go. Now, the one midterm rental strategy that we specialize in, we absolutely love, are helping families who have encountered a disaster, some type of catastrophe to their home, and they can't stay in their home anymore, but they have to move out, and they get to stay with us. Our homes are furnished midterm rentals. They get to stay with us, and the insurance company, their homeowner's insurance company, pays us month after month after month. So those are the midterm rentals that we love to host. But again, I said there's over 50. We're now in a political cycle. There's political campaign staff that need a place to stay temporarily as they campaign. There's just so many guys. There are just so many those who are traveling for what do you call it? The Renaissance Festival, right? They're going to put on a show in the town for a couple of months, right? So you have the talented traveling festival people who are leveraging midterm rentals as well. Again, these individuals, they typically are not coming with their own furnishing. So most of the time, midterm rentals, you want those to be furnished. You can actually charge more because it is costly, right, to move furniture just for a few months. So we charge more. It's fully furnished. However, midterm rentals can be furnished or unfurnished. Short-term rentals are always furnished. Long-term rentals are always unfurnished. Midterm rentals are typically furnished or unfurnished, but I advocate for furnished midterm rentals, okay? Again, hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down already. I'm just I'm leveling it out. I don't want anyone to be left behind. With that being said, I think I did a pretty good job of covering what the midterm rentals versus short-term rentals versus long-term rentals are. Oh, and by the way, remember when I spoke about the long-term rental strategy? The long-term rental strategy, what's interesting about it again is you have that steady income for a year. You're expecting that, right? So it's very, very steady, it's very stable, but it's only like $100 a month or $200 a month, what have you. I just don't delve in that world. However, short-term rentals, it's very cyclical. It's there's demand during certain seasons. There's seasons where it's a lower season and so on and so forth. So it fluctuates massively. So short-term rentals fluctuate, but the revenue is just so worth the fluctuations. However, the midterm rentals is that middle ground. Now, depending on who it is that you're serving, who it is that you are going to look after in your property, that's going to indicate for you how much money you're able to generate. So, for example, if you're working with an individual, say, a family who's on a tight budget, and it's an individual or a travel nurse who's on a tight budget, if that's who you're serving, if that's who's paying you, who is paying you? That's the question. Who is paying you? If that is who is paying you, well, guess what? They may want a two-bedroom property in the top tier area for $1,600 a month. And if your overhead is $1,600 a month, that's not going to help you to hit your 5K per month goal, right? So bear that in mind. However, with the midterm rental, what's interesting about the strategy is I love it because there are so many people you can serve with this strategy, and my focus is on the insurance because it is a lower return on energy. It's quite straightforward. Once you have gotten the in with the insurance company, once you've been able to connect with them, they reach out to us time and time and time again, which is awesome. However, you're working with a corporation, and the corporation's pockets are deep. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about how much they can really pay. In our next session, I'm going to do a video for you guys. If you guys are interested in video on how much can they really pay, how to price your property, okay? So I like to stay in the industries where I know that there's a surplus, there's a lot of meat left on the bone versus someone who's like really, really struggling, okay? So just wanted to level set that. Okay, from there, guys, I wanna dive into just a high level overview. We're gonna get into the 12 steps. Hear me out. We're gonna get into the 12 steps, but I did want to reflect a moment on the 4 ways that members of our community are jumping into the short-term rental, midterm rental strategy. Number 1, landlord owner. Okay, that's my absolute favorite way. That is how you make generational wealth happen. Okay, landlord owner is your ticket to freedom. All of the other strategies, guys, I want them to support you getting to landlord owner status. So landlord owner is number 1. The next one is midterm rental arbitrage. The next one is midterm rental co-hosting. And of course, you can get into a short-term rental, midterm rental fund, which, I'm participating in all 4 of these, but all roads lead right now for me to the landlord owner strategy where I'm creating generational wealth. Okay. All right. So let's talk about landlord owner. We're going to highlight that for now. I'll give you a high level overview on midterm rental arbitrage, and then we're going to dive into the 12 steps. So landlord owner, number 1 is it's when you own a property, you purchase a house. And once you've purchased the house, you furnished it and you put it on the midterm rental market. The insurance company pays you, but while they're paying you, something interesting and magical is happening, right? The mortgage debt is coming down. There's debt pay down. To get into that property, you're using leverage, which I recommend, but I'm not your financial advisor, so don't come for me. Definitely connect with your financial advisor. You're getting cash flow per month. Remember, I said I like a good 5K per month net cash flow. You're getting property appreciation if you're investing in the right and specific markets. You're getting equity in that property. I mean, it's just so many magical things happen with landlord owner. But the biggest fear, the biggest misconception is people think, oh my gosh, I cannot afford to own a property. I can't afford it. I just can't afford to put 25, 30% down on a property. Well, guys, surprise, surprise, you don't have to. We're going to talk about that in 12 steps, okay? So what I love about landlord owner, it is the highest ROI because of all of those things. Yeah, I didn't even mention cost segregation studies, bonus depreciation, all of the tax benefits that are out there. I didn't even mention that. I didn't even mention that. Okay. So I love landlord owner. Okay. Now, the second strategy to getting a property, say you're like, you know what? I don't know if I could, go in head first. I want to dip my toe in, and then I want to dip my ankle in, and then I want to dip my, and then kind of slide in because I'm nervous. I'm risk averse. Well, that's what some members of our community have done. So I think about Bola. Just last month, she was able to find a property that she thought would make a great midterm rental, and she dipped her toe. And we set up her pre-marketing strategy. She reached out to the insurance company. In our Rolodex, we have our list of insurance company where she was able to let them know, hey, she has this property she's looking at that would make a great midterm rental. Do they have a need in the market? Within 7 hours, they said, absolutely. We have a family right now who had just encountered a storm. They need your property right now. And so she reached out to the landlord. Remember, this is not landlord owner. We're talking about arbitrage right now. She reached out to the landlord, and the landlord said, sure, there's a family in need. And you want to rent out the property, your business, your insurance, you're working with insurance, sure. Like, it sounds legit. And they went ahead and they allowed her to rent it out, and then she thereby rented it back out to the insurance company. It's a little, there's some steps there, and so we teach this in the program. I cannot break it all down. I have an entire landlord owner module platform where I teach you exactly how to speak with the landlord. She used that framework. She reached out, and you know what? She is crushing it. She did it there, and she's now doing it in 2 additional states. She lives across the country, and she's leveraging the strategy because she was like, you know what? I don't want to go all in on purchasing. I wanted to test this out. She's a scientist, just an amazing human being, guys. So love that for her. But again, she understands the insurance strategy. She understands the model. She knew which markets would provide her that extra revenue. Now, I will say that she's not getting the $5,000 net because she did not get a chance to furnish the property, but she's netting $2,000 on that first one, and then she's going to be furnishing the next property, which I'm super excited about. Okay, so that is the mid-term rental arbitrage model. It's you control the lease, you're renting out the property for like a year, and you're controlling the lease, and now you can rent it out to the insurance company. They typically need the home for 3 months, 6 months, 13 months. And so she's in communication with the insurance, with the landlord. The landlord's happy. They're getting paid on time. She's happy. The insurance pays on time, my friend. The homeowner's insurance pays on time. I'm talking about Allstate, State Farm, Progressive. I'm just name dropping them. Do not go out there reaching out to them. They're not going to know anything as to what you're talking about. If you just reach out to them and say, hey, do you have insurance needs? No. They work with third parties, and inside of our Rolodex, we have all of the names, like Melody's names, all of the names of the third parties that they are working with. Okay, so that is the landlord owner model. All right, guys, so we're already all the way in. Goodness gracious. Oh, no, that was the landlord owner model, and that was the midterm rental arbitrage model. Okay, and so we highlighted a little bit of international, but I want to dive in. Step one, we're going to dive in now. Step one, I had to lay it down for you. I had to give you the lay of the land, but we, my friends, are ready to dive in. So step one, to secure your first or next midterm rental, short-term rental property, I love a good hybrid. First and foremost, you want to secure your down payment. Okay, so we're talking about acquisition, we're talking about purchasing. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of people in our community that asked about the midterm rental module, having acquisition, purchasing as a part of that module. It's in there now. So to secure your midterm rental property, guys, you need to figure out what your down payment is going to be. Okay. So, and where are you going to get it? So for me, when I first started out, my down payment came from my W-2 savings, from some bonuses that I had access to. I even tapped into a little 401k. I'm not saying that you need to do this, but that is what I did. Okay, so members of our community have come up with a variety of ways that they've shared that they have generated their down payment. What I love about our community is when we have our debriefs, they let us know what those down payments are, okay, and how they came up with it. There's some that have used whole life insurance policies that have special riders. There's some that have liquidated their single stocks. There's some that have used bonuses. There's some that have used IRAs of other individuals. It's complicated, but stay tuned. We're going to have an IRA specialist join us at some point. So that's a little bit wonky. There's some that have used a 1031 exchange model. And there are a few, Sophia, shout out to you, our attorney from Atlanta. There are a few that found lenders that had zero down. Zero down. I'm not talking about 1980. I'm talking about in the recent future, which is absolutely amazing. So it's really important, guys, to step two. I'm going to go to step two. It's really important, guys, to go to step two, which is financing, determining who it is that you're going to work with for financing. So I have my exclusive Rolodex. Shout out to Jeff Chisholm, is one of the lenders that we work with that provide us we're not talking about 25-30% down, typically 10% down. I've had local lenders give us a 3.5% down. There's a local lender that gave Sophia 0% down. So it just really, really depends. So finances, you want to figure out who you're going to work with for your closing, who's going to finance the property, because we leverage. For those of you who may be, on the a little bit more mature, older spectrum, you may appreciate a larger percent down because you may not want a larger monthly payment. So it just depends. Everyone's different, but I like my cash. I want to hold on to as much of my cash as possible. So I am not trying to give a humongous down payment. I am, y'all. This is timely, guys. If only you knew. If only you knew. I'm not trying to give a humongous down payment. So for me, 0% down, 10% down, I'm here for it all day, every day. However, if I were in my 60s or 70s, I may want, a bigger down payment and just a lower monthly payment just so that I can sleep better at night. Okay. That's why real estate investing, it's personal, right? You want to figure out, what makes you comfortable. Okay. So that is insider tip number two. That is number two. Our tip number two, figure out who you are going to work with for your financing stack, your funding stack, your lender. And again, like I said, my exclusive Rolodex, I love the lenders that we work with. The reason I love them, not all lenders are created equal. There are some lenders that are going to promise you the moon, but when it comes closing time, they have no idea what that looks like because they don't close. No offense, and I know I'm going to get hate for it, but there are some lenders that just won't close. I have members of my community, I'm not going to name any names, who have, gone off script and went out to find their own lenders. Okay, fine. We have a Rolodex, but you want to find your own lender. You're saying that this lender is promising you this, that, and the other. Fine. They're not even recommended by our Rolodex of realtors. You're just going off on your own. Well, when it's closing day, don't come crying to me. Just saying, don't come crying to me, because that lender promised you the moon. They didn't even have a cup to provide you, and they're promising you the moon. Whereas my lender, who may not have all the wells, all the bells, all the whistles, they weren't able to promise you everything. They're going to close. They're being conservative. They're going to be honest. They're going to let you know what they can really do, what they can't do. This one over here is telling you they can do all these things. When it comes time to closing, they're not even there. Okay, so I'm going to get off my soapbox. I just keep seeing it. Okay, so you have your down payment in hand. Step one. You have your lender in hand. Step two. Step three, my beautiful friends, and I'm going to take notes to make sure that I don't forget. Step three, my beautiful friends, is market analysis. Determine what market you want to invest in. Okay, market analysis is oh so very important. Hit us up 75gems.com, where you can find my top 75 cities with the highest profitability for short-term rental. Feel free to use that as a resource inside of our community. We go through an entire CROW methodology. We provide you a custom profit map so that you can know exactly where to invest in the next 7 days. By 7 days, I need you to know exactly where to invest so that we can get the ball rolling. But if you're out there and you're like, okay, I just don't know where to start, go to 75gems.com, 75gems.com, and I am happy to share with you my top 75 cities for profitability for short-term and midterm rentals in 2024. So take a look at that, because when you're analyzing market, guys, I want you to consider the location, the demand, the rental income potential. Okay, so you want to know what you're going to be investing, but you want to know what you're going to be making in return, because we're investing. This is not just an emotional thing. We're actually investing. Step 4. Once you have determined which market and streamlined it, like I said, we use a methodology called the CROW method. We've identified our market. Now we need to do the analysis and the underwriting. We need to really understand, okay, great. We have all of these numbers. We have all of this rental potential. This is amazing. Well, let's underwrite it a little bit, and let's underwrite it with 3 or 4 data tools. So we have data tools inside of our community where we share with you the step-by-step, the pros, the cons. We're looking at the debt. We need to underwrite the debt, guys. We're in an economy where we need to see, okay, are we making enough, to exceed the amount of debt that we are taking on a month to month. And that informs us of which lender to work with. So you will have a few lenders. They will have a few products based on your credit profile, all of that. You get to determine, okay, this product is going to be better for me than that product, because on a month-to-month basis, my debt service ratio, I need to understand that. I need to know that, okay? So once you have all of those tools, you're underwriting, you're looking at some of the costs. We have the underwriting worksheet. Just fill it out. You get to see what the costs are. You get to see what your opportunities are for tax strategy, tax advantages. We use, like I said, multiple data tools to confirm that this is the case. Then you are golden, and what I love about our data tool is we have the red, the go, no go, red, yellow, and green. Like yellow is, I don't love it. But if it were me investing on my own, I know how to make things happen in terms of our operations are vertically integrated. So I may put on my bulletproof vest and go into a cash on cash of 10% and know that I could squeeze some juice out of it because I'm going to implement some strategies. However, if I'm working with investors, I may not be comfortable with being that aggressive. I want to be a little bit more conservative. If you're just getting started, I would want to walk you through and look at that deal with you, because not only do you have access to me, you have access to our property manager coach, you have access to my dynamic pricing coach. We would vet it with all of these coaches to see, okay, the numbers are saying this. However, are there some leverage points that we can take advantage of, right? To see if we could squeeze a little bit more juice out of this particular property. So conduct a deep analysis, identify what your goals are. Is it cash on cash? Is it cash flow? Cash on cash means how much money let me break it down. Cash flow means how much money am I making on a month-to-month basis. Cash on cash is how quickly do I get my investment back? My initial investment, how quickly do I get it back? So if all in, my initial investment was $40,000, $80,000, $100,000, how quickly do I get it back? Do I get it back within a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, that kind of thing, right? If I can get it all back within 5 years, then it's not a bad investment. Not bad at all. That's more like a 20% cash on cash, okay? All right, so once you have run the numbers, guys, on a few markets, you've analyzed a few markets, you've done a few, I would say, scenarios in those markets, tap in with our Rolodex of realtors. These are realtors that are specializing in short-term and midterm rentals. Okay, so we have a Rolodex of realtors across all 50 states. They specialize in short-term and midterm rental investing. And what I love about them is that they have the experience, they have the expertise, they will run the numbers right alongside you, and they'll let you know maybe a few things that you may not fully understand about that particular market. I find realtors to be an amazing resource, but it is your responsibility. You need to know your numbers. Do not come up to a realtor and you're like, help me. No, no, no. And if a realtor is willing to entertain you, no offense, but they may not be that busy, and they may not be the realtor that you want to work with. Okay. Not going to lie. Some of the top realtors are very much cold shoulder. They will give you a cold shoulder. Like seriously, some of the top realtors will give you a cold shoulder, and the reason for that is that they're busy. Now, the realtors that aren't busy, that could shoot the hay with you and just chit chat all the time, that should tell you something. All right, that should tell you. I'm just saying. Don't come for me. Don't shoot the messenger. So if you find that the realtor is a little bit standoffish, if you find that they're not the most responsive, that typically means they're doing things. They're closing. They know what they're doing. They have a long list of clients that they're working with. So I'm just saying, okay. So all that, I'm just kind of future pacing you. Don't feel offended if a realtor doesn't get back to you as quickly as possible. You're like, oh, they're so unprofessional. No, they're busy. And so that is why it is important, and it would behoove you. And I tell members of our community, do not tap into that Rolodex until you have your pre-approval in hand, and until you have your lender identified, until you have your market identified and you're ready to go. You have your buy box built. That is what we do inside. We want to build your buy box so that the realtor knows exactly what you're looking for, and you're not here to play games. You're not here to waste their time. Nobody wants their time wasted. You're working a busy 9 to 5, 7 to 7, what have you. I used to work 7 on, 7 off night shifts. You're busy, right? The last thing you want is for someone to waste your time, and the realtors, they're just not going to play with you. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get off of that particular soapbox. I'm going to look at my list here. The next thing is regulations. All right. Whew. Hot topic, right? Regulations. Regulations are huge. And I think regulations are a great reason why the midterm rental strategy is getting a lot of notoriety and exposure right now, because midterm rentals typically do not fall under the regulatory restrictions that short-term rentals fall under. Okay, so keep that in mind. So understanding your short-term rental ordinance, I have an entire framework where I go through step by step on how to figure out what the short-term rental ordinances are in certain markets. Because although we're talking about midterm rentals, we love a hybrid strategy. We love a midterm rental hybrid strategy. Very, very important. So you want to make sure that your property is in compliance. If there's an HOA, you want to address that. You want to see what the CC&Rs are, and your CC&Rs are covenants, conditions, and restrictions. You want to make sure you understand what that is, okay? So there's a step-by-step process of knowing what your regulations are. Very, very important, guys. Do not sleep on this, because I have members who have come to the community after they've made a poor purchase because they did not look at the regulations, and all bets are off. Regulations affect your numbers. Now you invested in the property thinking you're going to get a juicy $7, $8, $9, $10,000 a month booking for short-term rentals, and you didn't position it in a way to leverage a solid midterm rental strategy. There are all sorts of bans. According to the HOA, it's a 1-year minimum, or they don't allow you to rent it out to others. Now your numbers are messed up, because if you can only leverage it as a long-term rental, well, that's $2,300 a month or $2,400 a month, and your mortgage is $2,300 or $2,400 a month. Don't let yourself be caught up in that situation, okay? I've seen it happen too many times. Not a good look. All right. Okay, so you looked at the regulations, you found the property, you've analyzed it, you've underwritten it, you are ready to close. It is time to close. I have an entire launch pad where I go through step by step with our community as to what you need to close. So in order to I would say pre-launch your property, the pre-launch phase, there are about 32 things that you need to do to pre-launch. You need to figure out which are the cleaners you're going to work with. You need to figure out your maintenance people. You need to order your door locks, your cameras. All of that is just broken down beautifully for you in a step by step. Essentially, you want to do all the things that you need to do prior to hosting. My goal for you is always to ensure that you do not pay your mortgage on your own. So within 30 days, I want you to start hosting guests. And you don't turn on midterm rental overnight. So you may need to, collect some dollars from short-term rentals until you get that wonderful midterm rental booking. Okay. And that may take 30 days, that may take 2 months, that may take 3 months. So I want you to start to use short-term rentals to get the ball rolling, and then midterm rentals as soon as you get that opportunity. And part of that pre-launch process is we want to set up your calendars correctly. You don't want to accept 2-night bookings peppered all over your calendar till the cows come home. No. You can do a few 2-night bookings in the near future, but then we want to reserve those amazing high value juicy bookings for 30-night stays at minimum. Okay. So part of the pre-launch pre-marketing is we want to figure out the preliminary steps for our team. We want to figure out our design budget. And all of that is very, very important. We're going to talk about furnishings and design, but we want to figure out who we want to work with, or our design mentality. What's our design mentality? We're going to do it ourselves. Are we going to do it with an expert, or are we just going to say, take the wheel, somebody just do it all for me, right? We'll talk about that in a second. So yes, pre-launch your property, pre-market your property. Doctors Ryan and Hasina, we had them pre-market their property while it was still going through renovations. They had $100,000 worth of bookings before their property was launched. Okay, so imagine you're going through the motions and you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm putting a lot into this. I don't know if it's going to get booked. Imagine having $100,000 in bookings on the books. That not only motivates you it puts a little fire under your tush to get it going, but it gives you the assurance that, yeah, this was a great idea. This is a great market to invest in. This is a great property. Okay. Rachel Balkovec, one of my VIP 101 clients, she's the very first female New York Yankees baseball coach, guys. So we pre-marketed her property $25,000 in bookings from pre-marketing her property. Okay. Love that. Okay. So we want to create some buzz. We want to get this property pre-marketed. We want to make sure that we are hitting the ground running. I know what I'm saying right now is controversial. Hopefully Tim, my revenue manager, is not listening to me. He hates that I say this, but hey, I got trust issues. I need to know that money is coming before I'm putting money out. Just saying. All right. Step 8, we're almost there. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're almost there, guys. Okay. So bear with me. Step 8 is furnishings. Okay. So I'm going to keep it light and easy. So there are, I would say, 4 ways that my members are furnishing their property. Number 1, there is, we have our amazing design coach, Amy, inside of our program. She will work alongside you. It's like a done with you, or she will do it for you with your team, or she will help you just to order the items and you do it yourself. So she's got a variety of ways that she could work with you, which is awesome. The second idea that we have, or the second methodology that we have, is we have a host GPO who we have partnered with. For those of you who know what a GPO is, a group purchasing organization. So they work with our members to help order just some of the best high quality linens and mattresses and all of that. Next up is we partner and create packages with another furnishing and design company. All of these guys are wholesale. We want you to get wholesale pricing. However, these are high quality. West Elm, Pottery Barn, Williams Sonoma, high quality, but wholesale prices that I negotiated for our members. Okay. And then last but not least, I don't recommend this. Last but well, actually, before last but not least, of course, you can do it yourself. You can go on to Wayfair. Actually, I like looking at Wayfair and playing around on that site. I love their lighting. I'm not gonna lie. I will get Wayfair lighting all day. The furnishings are hit and miss. Some things are phenomenal. Some things are not so phenomenal. And then you need to understand the delivery times as well. But you can do it yourself. Wayfair has like this construction of the rooms built out where you can actually go ahead and do it yourself, which I think is pretty cool and it's pretty interesting. So Wayfair is definitely an interesting website to look at to just kind of get the configuration of what all goes into a room. If you're doing it yourself, it's a great way to kind of create your own checklist, if you will, and then you can procure and purchase the furnishings from wherever. Not gonna lie, my very first property that we launched, we furnished the entire thing off of Facebook Marketplace. Okay, I don't recommend that today, especially if you're looking to scale, but we furnished the entire thing on Facebook Marketplace. There was a family who had a nice big house that was in a very rich neighborhood that was moving to the beach in a 1 bedroom condo, and they just needed everything to be taken down. The house was designed professionally, and they were selling everything. We said, we want everything. Let's make you an offer. My husband, oh, to this day, he is a vibe, guys. So we made them an offer, and for like $10,000 to $12,000, something like that, we took everything, and everything matched perfectly. Everything was well designed. We took it out of their 4 bedroom home and we put it into our 4 bedroom home. That was it. So, hot tip, it's possible. We hired it was my husband, my brother, and a mover. I remember when we did that. That was our very first property. Our second property, I worked with our professional designer, and she was the one who set up the property that was featured on Netflix. So yes, we got a Netflix feature, guys. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. Okay, so last but not least, let's see, rental furniture. I don't recommend it, but if you're in a pinch, that is definitely an option out there to rent out furniture. And that's a strategy that some of the government contract folks use as well. So keep that in your back pocket. Okay, so from there, we talked about the pre-launch, getting your team. Once the property is ready to go, guys, professional photos. Do not sleep on high quality professional photos. I don't want you to have put tens and $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 into this investment just to start taking iPhone photos. That is the biggest misconception I have seen, or the biggest mistake rather I have seen occur with properties being listed on platforms where it just looks so sad and so depressing and not that great. I'm not gonna name any names, but there are some platforms like, oh my gosh, this is where listings go to die. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So take professional photos, update your photos, and make sure that it is listed in the best light. Okay, so number 9 is updating your listing, updating your photos, making it extremely attractive to your ideal guest avatar. So we list our properties on a variety of platforms, namely Airbnb being one of the I would call Airbnb the Google of temporary housing. So Airbnb is definitely a place you want to list your property. From there, we listed on platforms like Corporate Housing Finder, Furnish Finder, Verbo. We listed with the temporary housing agencies like ALE Solutions is one. So just make sure that you're taking professional photos, you're putting your property in the best possible light, you're highlighting for your future guests what it is that your property has to offer. And once you have accomplished that, you want to step 10 is really optimize your listing. You want to make sure that the listing is compelling, all of the amenities are there. Not all amenities need to break the bank, guys. Some of you are thinking, oh, Rachel's talking about amenities like a resort size swimming pool, all of that. Not necessarily. Some amenities that are important, especially to the midterm rental guests, are pet friendly stays. That's an amenity that doesn't have to break the bank. So optimize your listing to make sure that you're marketing it in the best possible life. You want to draw in your future guests. Okay, so that's step 10. Optimize your listing because I need you making money, and it's again, you're going to be pulling levers. So depending on what it is that you are encountering with your listing, we pull those levers so that we can adjust and make sure that you are winning. So what do I mean by that? If you show up to our market analysis calls on Thursdays and you're like, okay, Rachel, I just have my listing. I'll say, pull up your listing. Well, what is your click through rate looking like? And you're like, oh, nobody's even clicking on my listing. Well, why is no one clicking on your listing? So we place your listing into our platform, and I have a way of identifying where you're showing up on search, and you're on page 17. How many people, when was the last time you went on page 17 on Google to look at a result? I don't remember doing that. Like I maybe used to do that back in the day, but Google has done such a good job of giving us what it is that we're looking for on page one that I don't go to page two. If you're on page two, you might as well not exist, right? So I want our members to be the first 10 on the platform showing up to ensure that they are getting the booking. So if you're on page 17, if you're not getting the clicks that people are even clicking through, it's number one, you have no visibility. You're on page 17. Number two, I'm looking at your photos. Oh, this photo looks dark and just kind of depressing. Number three, I'm looking at your title. Your title, your listing title, you went ahead and used that precious, amazing real estate to give me the name of your property. Okay. Not that Nina's done this. Nina's our pharmacist that's in the community. She's absolutely amazing. Her property is named Hideaway Behind the Lakes or Hideaway Between the Lakes. Hideaway Between the Lakes. Great. Great. I love that name for the property. We name all of our properties. Um, uh, uh, Meet Me at Mango. That's another property that's that's a part of our community. So we name them really cutesy names. However, the title of the listing should not have the name. I mean, like, what is that name doing for everyone? Anyone, unless it's a specific brand that you've built and people are looking for that brand specifically. That's one thing, but the title needs to provide the most important value proposition for that market. Two king size beds, pet friendly, brand new listing, so those are things you want to draw them in and just kind of get them to say, oh wait, stop, let me click on this listing. Okay, so that is some of the strategy that we leverage when we're optimizing, putting it out there. You got to test it, you got to put it out there, but then if we're not seeing the results, that's the power of showing up to market analysis, to pricing class, to design class, to see what we need to do to zhuzh it up. As a matter of fact, Tony in our community, he's in Long Beach, California, and I did his market analysis and property analysis audit right before I went to Costa Rica. And I was like, okay, Tony, great. You've set it up. You have launched. You're not getting the bookings. You're barely cash flowing, barely cash flowing. So let's see what we need to do. I say, okay, Tony, let's make these adjustments. The property is it looks sparse. There's nothing intriguing on the walls. It's not drawing me in. So Tony's like, bet, got it. I was kind of feeling that way too. I kind of outsourced it all to somebody else to do. Let me step in and start making these adjustments. He stepped in and started making the adjustments. I just got back and he said within a week, he got a booking. Now his overhead is $2,300 a month, and it's a 2-bedroom, so it's a smaller property. He got a booking for $4,700 per month for 3 months. The family encountered a fire damage, but the optimization is key, guys. Okay, so keep tweaking, keep optimizing to ensure that you're ranking really high in the algorithm. You are getting those bookings. Okay, step 11. We're almost there. Whew, we're in the home stretch, guys. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. Okay. So step 11. Step 11 is to self-manage your property, especially during year one. Okay. So I have to say this because I believe that a lot of you are going to qualify for some massive tax benefits, bonus depreciation, cost segregation study. I want you to manage it yourself, especially year one. Manage the property yourself for year one. Okay. Once you've managed, and Dr. Dada, I'm looking at you, lady. We launched her property. She closed in November. We launched in December. December of 2023 was considered year one. Year two is 2024. You can outsource it if you have to. I don't recommend it, but you can outsource it if you have to. Okay. So I have a couple of docs who are working in the emergency room, and they're able to actually manage right on their cell phone. They can manage on their cell phone. I would say 9 out of 10, you can manage 99% of your booking of your listing off of your cell phone. So self-manage, self-manage, self-manage. Take advantage of the tax strategies. And then year 2, convert it to a midterm rental, outsource if you want, or midterm rentals. Think about it. You only get 2 or 3 bookings for the year because they're booking for 3 months, 8 months, 13 months. So easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay. So that is step 11. That management structure, I think it's super, super powerful. You self-manage the first year, take advantage of the tax strategies, then convert it to the midterm rental year 2. Whew. Step 12, guys. We're here. We made it. We made it. Step 12, last but not least, once you're getting into the swing of things and you feel like, you know what, this is what I want to do. This is a strategy that I want to take advantage of. We want to create a little bit of buzz, marketing, branding behind your property. And so I highly recommend direct booking sites, getting a direct booking site so that you can market your property. You can have that continuity of bookings. You can send out emails to your email list, let them know that, hey, I've got a day that's coming up. And so we have a system that we have built out where we have a direct website marketing team that is coming alongside of our members to help develop their. We've got their websites launched, developed, and it's phenomenal because on a rotating schedule, we're able to drip out the website on social media, just have things scheduled out. It may take you a few hours to create 6 months worth of content and emails. We have templates, just copy and paste and put it out there. Okay, so part of this tool that we're using, we collect all of the emails of past guests. Okay, we're marketing to them directly within 90 days to 180 days after they've left the property so that they could remember, hey, I'm still here. So if you're ever in town, or if you know someone who's in town, go ahead and send them this link, book directly with me. You will save thousands and thousands of dollars per month using a direct booking site that builds your wealth, that gives you a little bit more cash flow, and then it puts you in a position like, oh, this is an actual business, and what better way than to serve those you have already served. They know you, they like you, they trust you, they love you. Absolutely amazing. So that is step 12, guys. I just want to rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, get the wheel turning, and then we buy another one, right? Like, how do we do this again? Let's do it again. All right, guys. So those are your 12 steps. Let me review them. Let me see if I have a quick list here. So step number 1, get your down payment. Step number 2, secure your financing. Step number 3, identify your market. Step number 4, conduct your market data analysis. Step number 5, find that property. Use the Rolodex of Realtors to find that dream property. Number 6, triple check your short-term rental ordinances. From there, number 7, you're closing on your property. You want to pre-market your property. Step 7, you're closing. It's closing season. Pre-market your property. Number 8, we're going to furnish your property with grace and ease. Number 9, invest in professional photography. It gets its own number. Number 10, optimize your listings. Number 11, self-manage for year 1. And number 12, you want to plan for expansion. You want to market that property, get your direct booking site, and do it again. All right. Oh my goodness. That's it, guys. So if you, my friend, are ready to get started with your midterm rental, short-term rental journey, you're ready to finally find that financial freedom. I'm gonna say something real quick. For me, there was a shift when I realized that I can make on a monthly basis the amount that I was making annually at my W-2. There was a power shift. There was a power dynamic shift. Like your mind is blown. At that point, you get to make the decision. Do I stay or do I go? I mean, if you are able to support yourself at a capacity that you're making more money per month than you are annually at your W-2, that's why I'm here, guys. That's exactly what happened to me. Okay, so if you're curious about that, if you want to understand these 12 steps if you want us to hold you by the hand and walk you through this lucrative 12-step rental investment strategy that gave me the freedom, that gave me that power dynamic of determining what to do because I had freedom. I had financial freedom. If that's you, I would love, love, love to get on a discovery call with you. Click the link below or go to shorttermgems.com/book and we will see you on the inside, my friends.